Alright. Okay, good morning and hello to everyone watching this recording. My name is Caleb Gutierrez and I'm your class of 2021 president. Today I am very thankful and honored to be speaking with Rabbi Aaron. We will be going over a short interview today discussing a few different things about finalizing Holocaust Education Week. This will be sort of our grand finale. So Rabbi Aaron, would you mind introducing yourself to everyone by telling us your name, where are you from, and give us two interesting things about you?
Sure. Good morning. Thanks for having me here. My name is Rabbi Aaron Alsbrook. I am the senior rabbi at Ohev Israel Messianic Jewish Congregation in Springfield, Virginia. A couple interesting things. I have 2 degrees in vocal performance. I sang opera and musical theater throughout Israel and in Europe before coming back to the States. And another interesting thing, I've traveled, I guess, pretty much around the world, from Hawaii to Alaska to Mexico to Germany to Hong Kong, and lived in Israel, and now I made it through New York. So if I can make it there, I can make it anywhere. I'm in Virginia, so I've been around.
So why did you travel so much?
Family things, vacations, like I said, with music. I had ministry opportunities. I led a Passover Seder for 500 Chinese Christians in Hong Kong once,
Wow.
and even got to speak in some underground churches in mainland China. They were very hungry to learn about Israel, and it was pretty neat.
Yeah, well, that sounds fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. So I guess our first question to kind of go on then is if you would like to speak about the Holocaust and anything that you wanted to share about that.
Sure. It didn't affect me directly. However, my grandparents' families were both decimated by the Holocaust, and as well as my wife's grandparents' families were also, almost all of them were murdered. So it is very dear to me. Also, having lived in Israel, and it's so ingrained in the culture there, it's hard to escape it in its reality. And I know people want to move on, and I understand that. And I've, like I said, I traveled in Germany, and I try not to look at the German people as, oh, Nazis. It's hard, however, to divorce it. And I wanted to treat them fairly and, get to know individuals as such. And there are multiple memorials around in Germany. When I was in Vienna too, some memorials where they rounded up Jews in some of the squares in Vienna, and you see like this is real. It's very real. It's touching because it also happened just 80 years ago, 75 years ago. It's not that long ago, and my grandfather, and he was served in the American Army, and when he got to Germany, and they saw some of the camps, and there were villages of Germans there, and they knew what was going on or had some idea what was happening, but they did nothing, and we could talk about that too. But he said they took the Germans and they marched them through the camps to show them what happened in their backyard. And it's frightening, and then the flip side of it is that when I lived in Israel, for instance, it made me so proud and happy that we have an army of Jewish citizens, and there are other people who aren't Jewish who serve there too, where we can finally defend ourselves. And Israel is not perfect, and she's made a lot of mistakes, as has every country, but we finally have a place where we can call home and we can defend ourselves, and to do anything we can to prevent another Holocaust from happening, which is an unfortunate reality, but Israel will always do whatever it can to stop that.
Yeah. Oh, very, very, very well said. I've had the privilege of living in Germany for a few years as well, and I have had the opportunity to visit a concentration camp. I went to Dachau, and I went to a Nazi prison camp in Berlin, and I can say it's very much like you said. It's very real once you get to see these things, and it was not that long ago. So those were some excellent points. I think that the next question we have here is for everyone watching, what exactly does it mean to be Jewish? Some people may have talked to say that they have grown up in the Jewish community, or maybe they have said they have Jewish roots. What does it mean to be Jewish and to follow Judaism?
You could go to a library and read scores of books on this.
Yeah.
Me, it became very tangible when I first went to Israel. I was 18, and I could see the stones, I could see the people, I could hear the language. And then when I was talking further with my family and realizing that my family's from the tribe of Levi, were Cohen's priests, thinking that I have a direct line, 3,000 years plus old with the original Aaron, the brother of Moses. To me, it's a connection. It's a lot of people don't know what it means, but to me, it shows there's a history, and especially now that we have our own land, it makes it very special. It shows that we are people who fight, who seek to make the world a better place by bringing God into them and to speaking the truth of God, knowing that God has chosen us for a very special reason, and we've been persecuted a lot. That's also a real part of it, but it's also another reason why we want to do well, why I want to have more kids, why I want to raise them well, why I want to fill them with the truth and love of God, so that they can go out and share in this world, that there's something real and substantial. A lot of people, they need it. And we have been persecuted because we embody God's mission to the world, that come back to me and I will forgive you and I will show you the right way to live. And if you're with me, you'll be blessed. And that's been the Jewish people's privilege and obligation. And it's, to me, it's a big honor to be Jewish.
Yes.
It's a privilege. I love it. Could it be easier at times? Sure it is. But in my experience in life, anything worthwhile has its challenges, and you have to work hard at it. But I love it. I love being Jewish. I love raising my kids this way. We don't see ourselves as any better. It's just we have a unique calling, and it's just a privilege to be part of God's story with humanity in this way.
Yeah. No, very, very well spoken. Thank you very much. And a quick little fact that I had found for everyone out there. According to a few different places that I checked, it's estimated that only 0.09% of the world's population is Jewish. So that could give you an idea of actually how small I think that the Jewish community is. Well, thank you for that. Well, the third question here that I had for you is, what are some challenges that you think the Jewish community is facing today? So we spoke a little bit about the Holocaust and how maybe the Holocaust is not going on currently, but what are some challenges and things that the Jewish community faces? And maybe if you wanted to share a personal experience or something along that.
Sure. I mean, it's related. It's to the Holocaust. It's sad that the fact that the Holocaust happening just several decades ago, there's still, you would think that in a way, anti-Semitism would have waned much more significantly, but maybe it did for a season, but it's coming back. You see it in Europe, you see it in France, you see it in Belgium. And I've personally experienced it in the States. There was a season in my life where I wore a yarmulke, the skull cap, in public. Now I usually just wear a baseball cap. And then this was in California, a land where people just kind of, let everyone go, live and let live. People saw it. One guy said to me, "Heil Hitler." And then he called me dirty names. And I've been called all the dirty names by people. I thought, well, what did I do? And what do you have? You live in Southern California. What do you know about Nazis? Even where we live here, someone recently, well, I guess a year or so ago, spray painted swastikas on the local GCC. There
What is
were
a GCC for everyone at home?
Jewish Community Center. So it's a non-denominational it's a non-denominational center for Jewish people to gather, to have classes, they usually have a gym or a pool. They have kids um, programs and day schools. So it's pretty well known landmark. And yeah, somebody put swastikas, the sign of Nazis, there. So that's really unfortunate. In New York, where I used to live, an old rabbi someone broke into his house and stabbed him in Hanukkah a couple of years ago. I mean, it's kind of stuff like anti-Semitism is very real. And the possibility of another Holocaust is also real, especially from you hear the rhetoric from Iran and Syria. But Jews have to be careful, and also we have to be in America. We also need to be mindful of when you're hearing such rhetoric within our government and within the public, that we can't whitewash this and think, oh, it's minimizing it, because the Jews in Germany, they were integrated into society. Many Jews served in the German parliament. They thought they were Germans, and then Hitler rose to power and he said, "You're not Germans, you're Jews." He said, "Well, we've been living here for hundreds of years." They didn't think that anyone would turn on them. And they did. And they sold them out. And, I don't want to be completely pessimistic, but Jews need to be mindful in watching these things. We are Jews in America are easily, American. And we prosper, we do well, we're well integrated into society. But we just need to be mindful that, this something similar to this happened years and years ago, and we need to just keep our eyes open, and people need to see that when good people do nothing, evil has a field day. So good people need to stand up for what's right and what's true, and so to prevent anything terrible like this from ever happening again.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I think that the last thing that I wanted to touch on here, let's see. So what do you think? Because I think maybe some people at home may not understand, why exactly do Jews, you think, face so much anti-Semitism? I know that this is a very broad topic, and there's a lot of different things that I've heard a few speakers talk about, that it dates back to the Middle Ages, to where Jews were the only ones who could charge interest on loans and things, and that's sort of the source of it. But throughout history, I think we can see that it's farther than that. So I wanted to get, what is your take on that?
Well, since I'm a rabbi, I'll give you a spiritual answer.
Yes.
God called us to be his ambassadors, if you will. So people may not like this answer, but you can't like everything in the world. People don't like Jews because they don't like God. And people may say, "Oh, I believe in God," or "I like God." But you can tell the proof is in the pudding. If you really love God, you'll follow his commandments. You'll follow the way he wants us to live. People don't like Jews because we represent that there's a right way to live and there's a wrong way to live. And I mean this in a very deep, significant way, of loving our neighbor as ourselves, of treating others the way we want to be treated, of laying down our lives for other people, of always judging righteously, of not favoring the rich or the poor, of taking care of the poor and the widow and the orphan. These are things that God has called us to do, where a lot in the world, it's been, dog eat dog, the survival of the fittest, the mighty survive, they take over. Whereas God has called the Jewish people to be completely dependent upon him. And we haven't done, not a perfect job, but when people see Jewish people, Hitler said it, we've done two great injustices, essentially, and I'm paraphrasing. We mutilated the flesh, that's through circumcision, circumcising boys on the 8th day, and also the circumcision of morality, trying to circumcise our hearts. Hitler, and he's not the first to do this, said we're the superior people, we're the Aryans, we're the Übermenschen, the mighty men. We should dominate because we're the biggest and strongest. And Jews are saying, well, it's not about size. We've never been a very big people physically. We were 3,500 years ago, there were 2 or 3 million of us. Now there's only 16 million. We should be a lot larger in population. But our dependence has always been upon God. And it's gone against the grain of society in the world that say that you need to be dependent upon God and be humble. So it's a difficult thing. People may not even be cognizant of these things, but I think ultimately people don't like Jews because they want to rid this world of God, and it's challenging, and it's not about us. It really is about Him. But when people see Jews, there's a part within them, whether they're conscious of it or not, that thinks, do I want God to rule my life, or do I want myself to rule my life? And people who don't want to be submitted to the rule of God, which is a good one, and if God leads us, it only leads to good things, then they don't want Jews around. So it's a challenging thing. And, if I provoked you or you didn't like the answer, I would encourage you to think about it and think about where you put God in your life. Is he the king, or are you the king? And you just put God in there as a nice little addendum.
Thank you. I think that was a perfect answer. Thank you very much for that. Well, I think the last thing that I wanted to just speak on was, did you have any closing remarks or anything, last statements, or maybe a question or common misconception or something that you wanted to touch on as we come to our conclusion here?
Sure. The Holocaust is, for instance, is not unique to the Jewish people. In a way it is, but it isn't. Pol Pot in Cambodia murdered over 1 million people. The Turks murdered over 1 million Armenians. Hitler killed a lot of other people, political dissidents, Catholics, homosexuals. The communists murdered millions. Mao Zedong in the Chinese Revolution murdered millions. Even in North Korea, he's murdered his own people. I bring this all up to say that study however, the Holocaust and these other events, but particularly the Holocaust, because it was oriented towards a specific people trying to eradicate them from the earth. And there's oh shoot, I forget the guy's name, but he was a Protestant. And I forget exactly the wording verbatim, but he said, when they came for the communists, I didn't say anything because I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the Jews, I didn't say anything because I wasn't Jewish. Then they came for the radicals, I didn't say anything because I wasn't a radical. And then all that was left was me. So then they came for me. My point is, you have to stand up for what's right and what's good and what's true, whether it affects you directly or not, because ultimately evil doesn't take sides. Evil will seek its agenda. And if those who have any semblance of good and want to do good, fight evil in all its forms, whether it's oriented towards Jews or Cambodians or Russians or Chinese, seek to fight evil. And there is good and evil in this world. And we need to choose good. We need to choose life and fight evil and fight death. Because evil still exists. Hitler is not the last of evil. So learn about the Holocaust. See what happened when good people did nothing. So it can compel you to do good where you can.
Exactly. Well, thank you very, very much, Rabbi Aaron. We really appreciate this. I think you answered all of our questions perfectly. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you to everyone who is watching this. And we appreciate this. The last thing I think I would like to state is, just like Rabbi Aaron said, even though this is Holocaust Education Week, it shouldn't just be a 1-week thing where we think about it for the rest of the year. It's something to always think about and remember, and always stand up for good. So thank you very much for everyone who is watching this, and have a wonderful rest of your day.